What's up, guys and girls? Today we're going to be talking to the females out there. Um, I think that for the great majority of our history as the Homo sapien race, um, I think females have just been really, passive in terms of obtaining a guy, at least for the majority. And so what that means is that they will wait around for the guy. The guy has to make the first move. The guy has to approach first, and so forth, which isn't very applicable in the modern society. So I'm going to be talking about what can be done about that for a female, because I feel like there's a lot of youthful people out there who are somewhat ignorant about this. So I will try and make this video as short and sweet as possible, because usually these end up taking like 30 minutes and then they miss the point. But generally, if you're in those situations, whether you're at a bar and maybe not even a bar, just a social gathering or some other place, um, and a bar works well too, and you're a female and you find yourself just sitting there waiting for people to approach and then they don't approach, well, that's a problem, because what happens if this man's shy, or this is someone you really want to approach? And I'm sure there's situations for females, because it happens for males too, where the guy chickens out, and then you just nothing can be done. You never see them again, and it's terrible. Now, obviously, for females, they often get the backlash of it more because guys generally do the approaching, which means oftentimes they do get a lot of guys that they're not interested in approaching. Um, so what can you do about this? Well, rather than just always be the passive person who can't do the choosing, I don't think that's um, the only option anymore in this modern society. Generally, though, you don't have to go as direct as a male does. I mean, you can if you want to, but again, it can scare away a lot of guys. Um, and again, even for guys who go very direct, and by direct I mean like literally just walking up to them, you don't know them, it's a cold approach, and you just compliment them and tell them you're physically attracted to them or just that they're attractive, can be a little bit too much, even for a guy doing that to a girl. So obviously it depends on the situation, but I do think that there's plenty of stuff that you can do other than sit around and just hope for it. Now, I find generally the more attractive physically the female is, the more inclined she is to just sit around very shy, and that can work all fine and dandy. But um, I think again it's because they are just used to so much approach that they never had to step out of their comfort zone. But if you want to man up, and I feel like every person in the world has that potential to step out of their comfort zone and achieve greater results, you have to bite the bullet, show some discomfort, and do an approach. Now, it doesn't have to be a straight up approach. Um, a lot of females, and you see it, they're socially savvy. So especially when it's some sort of social networking gathering or something with just networking. It doesn't have to be a gathering. You can be introduced through mutual friends. You can do a lot of indirect stuff like just talk to them about something, about their clothing, or like ask them why they're here, or just say hello. Um, and a lot of stuff, it can be very indirect, like just asking opinion, then branching off of that and start asking them questions. Now, obviously, once you get decent at this, and it takes time because you have to sort of branch from that initial approach to a conversation, um, you will find that there's a general level of natural conversation flow. And there's instances that I've observed for both genders where one party is trying way too hard. And uh, you have to sort of recognize that and realize, okay, this person is not interested, and be okay with that. And you can stick around to just improve yourself, but sometimes you just have to move on. And then finally, the biggest thing is obviously rejection. That's going to happen. It's by probability. Oftentimes, though, most I mean, I feel like most females do it through social networking and no direct approaching. Therefore, they never have to lay it all on the table, which may happen for guys. And if you really want to get out in the field, you females can do a direct approaching too. Like there are instances where they're on the street and they're walking, and you feel like this may be like someone you really really like, and if you don't do it now, you'll never know. So those instances, because of how cold it is and it's a stranger, you kind of have to do some sort of direct approach. But if you don't want to step up to that level, and you just want to stick to mutual friend sort of stuff, then you never really have to go that direct, and therefore it's very easy to just uh, talk to them. And then because of that, it's like they can never give you a card rejection, like, no, I'm not interested in you, after you have shown explicit interest in me, which is what sort of happens with direct approach. If you do something more indirect, like just start conversing with them, the worst they can do is just show negative body language and disinterest verbally. Um, but at the same time, you have that sort of excuse that you were just, casually talking to that person, anyways, simply trying to make an acquaintanceship or just be social. So that's all really want to say in a nutshell. And uh, I a really great insight that I've sort of discovered um, recently, after just observing a lot of advice from a lot of different sources, and not just dating, but a lot of fields like business and people with success. Oftentimes, generally they may have similar methods to similar ends, but some stuff they will give you conflicting advice. So you really have to make sure you're getting advice from their circle of competency. If if a man doesn't have, he may say something like, well, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. I think you should try out everything yourself and figure out yourself if it's worth it. And therefore you will get people who are like, oh, don't do any of that, just sitting on the bar stool at the bar and wait for them to approach. And I think that's a very outdated way of thinking of things, because what if he's shy? What if he doesn't have the opportunity? What if he doesn't see you? What if he doesn't know how to approach and can't think of anything to say? Um, and on and on and on. So that's all we want to say in a nutshell. And again, as always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.